señor Leonardo Santos Simao.
Monsieur le Président du Conseil, Mesdames et Messieurs les membres du Conseil, j'ai l'honneur de présenter le rapport du secrétaire général couvrant sur les activités du Bureau des Nations Unies pour l'Afrique de l'Ouest et Sahel. Je félicite le Panama pour sa présidence du Conseil et lui souhaite une présidence fructueuse. Je voudrais également saluer la présence de Mme Sima Sami Baou, la directrice exécutive de l'ONU Femmes, et rendre hommage au travail considérable accompli pour l'ONU Femmes dans la sous-région. Je salue également la présence de Mme Lavinia Ada Mensah, la directrice exécutive de ONEP. Mr. President, distinguished members of the Council, the security situation in the region remains of paramount concern. On 1st July, terrorist groups launched the attacks on 7 locations across western and central Mali, marking a significant escalation in jihadist activity in western Mali. Although Malian security forces repelled those attacks, they have nonetheless sparked fear among the local communities, truck drivers, and traders, as well as uncertainty about the normal flow of economic activities and daily livelihoods of the populations. As the spillover to coastal states has been happening, now the concern is its spread. In northern Benin, in April, two terrorist attacks reportedly claimed the lives of dozens of soldiers. In Togo, on 9th April, armed jihadist militants carried out a drone attack on a forward post of the Togolese armed forces in northern Togo. Several soldiers were reportedly injured. In Nigeria, Boko Haram is resurgent, while other groups, like Rawa, have intensified operations in northern region. In Borno State, in May, the Islamic State for West Africa province targeted a Nigerian army battalion. In a separate incident, armed actors allegedly killed 57 civilians across 2 communities in some of the central states of the country. Insecurity remains a serious concern. In Benue State, intercommunal clashes, including those pitting farmers against herders, has resulted in over 250 civilian deaths. A sample of the complex security picture across the region. Terrorist activity has surged in scale, complexity, and sophistication, including through the use of drones, alternative internet communication, and increased collusion with the transnational organized crime. Maritime security remains a concern and requires a coordinated response. Young people are increasingly prime targets for recruitment by terrorist and violent extremist groups. Growing insecurity compounds an already dire humanitarian situation. According to our OCHA colleagues, 12.8 million people are projected to face acute food insecurity this rainy season, and 2.6 million children are expected to suffer from severe acute malnutrition this year. Critically, only 14% of funding for the 2025 humanitarian needs and response plan for the Sahel region has been received. Resource mobilization is therefore urgently needed to save the lives of millions of people at risk. Likewise, UNHCR warns of massive displacement crisis. Millions of people fleeing across borders are stretching the capacity of already vulnerable host communities. For example, Mauritania's Mbera refugee camp now hosts over 100,000 refugees, making it each in terms of population the country's third largest city. Climate change continues to exacerbate these dynamics. Recent floods highlighted the region's growing vulnerability to climate-related shocks. Mesdames et Messieurs les membres du Conseil, pour faire face à la menace terroriste, les pays membres de l'Alliance des États du Sahel, à savoir le Burkina Faso, le Mali et le Niger, ont mis en place une force de défense conjointe et créé des structures communes dans les trois domaines suivants: la défense et sécurité, diplomatie et développement. La CEDEAO et l'AES commencent à travailler ensemble pour trouver des solutions pragmatiques afin de relever les défis communs. Le 22 mai, les premières consultations officielles de haut niveau entre la CEDEAO et l'AES ont eu lieu à Bamako. Le 19 juillet, à Accra, l'agence spécialisée de la CEDEAO, le groupe intergouvernemental de lutte contre le blanchiment de l'argent en Afrique de l'Ouest, GIABA, a accepté d'admettre le pays de l'AES en tant que membre non affilié à la CEDEAO. Lors de mes récentes visites dans les États du Sahel central et dans le cadre de mes engagements avec la CEDEAO, la Mauritanie et d'autres partenaires, j'ai souligné l'importance du dialogue, de l'instauration d'un climat de confiance et de la coopération, en proposant systématiquement les bons offices et le rôle de facilitateur de l'ONUA pour combler les divisions et protéger les approches consensuelles. Je me suis récemment rendu à Freetown, à Sierra Leone, où j'ai rencontré le président Julius Maada Bio dans ses nouvelles fonctions de président de la conférence des chefs d'État et de gouvernement de la CEDEAO, et je me réjouis de soutenir ses efforts et ceux de la CEDEAO pour améliorer la collaboration en matière de sécurité dans toute la région. Je me réjouis également que de l'engagement conjoint de la CEDEAO et de l'Union africaine a créé une cellule commune de fusion et d'analyse des menaces dans le cadre de la plateforme de coordination antiterroriste Union africaine CEDEAO. La mise en œuvre de la résolution 2719 du Conseil de sécurité offre à l'ONU un moyen de soutenir les opérations de paix menées par l'Union africaine dans la région et limiter l'impact dévastateur des activités des groupes terroristes et armés. Le plaidoyer continu du Conseil de sécurité sera crucial à cet égard. Mr. President, distinguished members of the Council, despite serious challenges, we have reasons to celebrate the democratic dividends in the region. During events marking ECOWAS' 50th anniversary in Lagos on 22nd April, I witnessed the organization's commitment to strengthening governance and regional integration, taking full account of the aspirations of its people, especially the youth. I also welcome ECOWAS' recent decision to establish its Economic, Social, and Cultural Council, designed to bring the voices of citizens across the region into its proceedings. In Senegal, inclusive national consultations forged consensus on institutional reforms. In Sierra Leone, stakeholders continue to implement the agreement on national unity. In Ghana, the work of National Peace Council stands as a model for national dialogue and conflict prevention. In Liberia, we praise the commitment to normalize the functioning of the Constitution after the impasse in the Parliament. In the months ahead, elections are scheduled in 3 countries. In Guinea, I welcome the commitment by the authorities to hold elections before the end of the year following a constitutional referendum in September this year. Ahead of Cote d'Ivoire presidential elections in October, I plan to visit the country again to build on my previous engagements with the many stakeholders and continue close coordination with ECOWAS, the African Union, and other key partners to promote conditions for peaceful elections. I am also engaging with ECOWAS, regional leaders, and international partners regarding the forthcoming elections in Guinea-Bissau, and rest confident that the elections will be peaceful. I encourage stakeholders in Mauritania to use the upcoming national dialogue to strengthen governance and build national cohesion. Similarly, I call upon stakeholders in Togo to engage constructively to overcome differences that have triggered protests leading to the loss of lives which we regret. Mr. President, distinguished members of the Council, I'm concerned about shrinking civic and political space in some countries in the region, where there have also been reports of unlawful detention, torture, and enforced disappearances. Strengthening the national and regional mechanism to combat impunity is essential. I would like to take this opportunity to note the establishment by the Alliance of the Sahel states of a criminal court in Bamako aimed at addressing war crimes, serious human rights violations, terrorism, and crimes against humanity, a step that underscores commitment to justice and peace. Mr. President, distinguished members of the Council, the UNOWAS continues to support the development of flagship projects in the Sahel, in the Central Sahel, cornerstones for implementation of the United Nations Integrated Strategy for the Sahel. These projects, co-created with the governments of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, are designed to address the key drivers of conflict and instability through people-focused approaches. In the context of the Secretary General's UN 18 initiative, they are also an example of system-wide UN collaboration across the humanitarian development peace nexus. I wish to reiterate my call for harnessing water resources as peace and development accelerators, namely through the finalization and implementation of the Sahel Regional Action Plan on Water. The region's economy remains highly vulnerable to external shocks. Although macroeconomic indicators show improvement, rising debt levels continues to constrain government's capacity to provide essential service. I therefore welcome the introductions of debt swaps and other innovative financial instruments as effective tools to better manage and alleviate the region's debt burden. Mr. President, distinguished members of the Council, regarding the women's peace, security, and the youth peace security agendas, which you have set as a priority, I'm glad to report that all countries in the region have national action plans on Security Council Resolution 1325, and several have made progress through legal reforms, gender strategies, and these gaps remain. Women remain underrepresented in peace process, political party decision-making organs, and security institutions. Economic exclusion, insecurity, and discriminatory norms persist, while many national action plans remain underfunded. This is indeed the major stumbling block for the implementation of a women's involvement in governance process. UNOWAS is expanding its collaboration with the UN Women through initiatives that include my annual Women's Leaders Dialogue and the setting up of Women's Mediators Rapid Response Team. I would welcome support from council members to operationalize this important initiative. Mr. President, distinguished members of the Council, allow me to conclude by highlighting the progress achieved by Cameroon-Nigeria Mixed Commission to resolve the final areas of disagreement. As we move towards an exit strategy, the Commission is an example of the role of international mechanisms in supporting peace building and regional cooperation. We hope this will inspire similar situations. I thank you very much for your kind attention.
Agradezco al señor Simao la información que nos ha proporcionado. Doy ahora la palabra a la señora